So if you wanted to know who the good guys and bad guys were and you knew nothing else about what happened in the war in Ukraine, just ask who are the ones hitting the children's hospital with missiles, and you would know that they're the bad guys, right? Okay, so the Russians were just doing that. People in Kyiv dig through rubble after a Russian strike hits children's hospital. And this video, I'm not even trying to monetize it because I'm sure it'll be demonetized. I'm just hoping that they just don't take it down. The children's hospital in Kyiv, Ukraine, was among the buildings hit in Russian missile strike on Ukrainian cities on Monday. With mounting death toll, members of the public and medics were seen digging by hand through the rubble in a search for survivors. Okay, this is Kyiv Center right now. Russia has hit Ukraine's largest children's hospital. The name is Mother and Child Care. Many wounded kids, including babies, and just imagine your baby comes to the hospital, it's bad enough, and then hit by Russians. That's a picture of what it looks like. It gets even worse. Hospital directly hit, as Volodymyr Zelensky says, as he vows retaliation for one of the heaviest attacks on the capital since the war began. An unknown number of people have been trapped under the rubble. Ukraine's largest children's hospital was hit in a daylight Russian missile barrage that the authorities said had killed at least 29 people across the country. Russia cannot be unaware of where its missiles are landing and must be held fully accountable for all its crimes against individuals, against children, against humanity as a whole, Zelensky posted on Telegram. The strike largely destroyed the hospital's toxicology ward. We are extracting whoever we can. We don't know the number of people trapped there, said Viktor Lyashko, the country's health minister, outside the hospital. The Guardian witnessed many young cancer patients in distress during the evacuation. Some barely clothed and with medical tubes still attached to them. It was complete chaos. The children were in panic, crying in the bunker. There are no words for this. This is awful. I'm still shaking. Kyiv's mayor Vitaly Klitschko stated that the attack on the capital was one of the heaviest since the Russian invasion began more than 2 years ago. Here's a video of the thing. The video shows a direct missile strike on the children's hospital. Earlier, the Kremlin media tried to push the version that the hospital in Kyiv was hit by a missile from Ukrainian air defense systems. I'm not kidding. That's how evil they are. They're hitting a children's hospital, which is a war crime, and then they're blaming the Ukrainians. And if you think I'm making this up, I tracked it down in RT. Here you are. Russia slams Ukrainian claim of attack on civilian targets. Now, you tell me, with your own eyes, you saw this. This isn't anti-aircraft missiles hitting something and then debris falling. This is a direct hit on the building itself. Okay, damage in Kyiv was due to errant air defense, not a Russian missile strike, in the defense ministry in Moscow. Claims by Ukrainian officials that Russia deliberately attacked civilian targets in Kyiv on Monday are absolutely untrue, the defense ministry in Moscow has stated. According to numerous videos published by local media, civilians on the ground were reportedly injured. Ukrainian leader Volodymyr Zelensky has accused Moscow of deliberately targeting a prominent children's hospital, claiming that it's impossible that Russia does not know where its missiles fly and must answer for the crimes. But of course, they're denying it, saying it was Ukrainian anti-aircraft artillery. Anton Gerashenko talks about how a doctor who was performing surgery during the explosion was thrown by the blast wave. Fortunately, he and his patients are alive. Some doctors are not answering their phones. 2 children were reported dead in the hospital. There are still people under the debris. Meanwhile, explosions are heard in Kyiv once more as Russia attacks again. For those who claim that it wasn't a direct strike, you can see it on video. The rocket on the video was not hit by air defense, and it was flying straight at the target, which is exactly where the hospital is. And they talk about how they have such precision munitions. They are precision weapons hit exactly at the right. I showed that in the daily brief this morning. In reference to the latest heinous Russian terrorist attack against the children's hospital in Kyiv, Czech President Petr Pavel released the following statement. The attack on the children's hospital in Kyiv and many other Ukrainian cities is proof that Putin's Russia will stop at nothing. Attacking the most vulnerable is inexcusable. I'm about to leave for the NATO summit, where I expect a consensus that we will all see Russia as the biggest threat for which We must be thoroughly prepared. But they have to be willing to do something about it. That's the difference. They have to be willing to stand and not be thwarted or worried about whatever Russia might do. Anton Gurashenko, deliberately performing a missile strike on a hospital with kids who just have cancer. What kind of sick blank does that? This is not just Putin. There are many people who planned it, gave the orders, prepared the missiles and aircraft. They have completely lost their minds there. Sick children, children with cancer. Can you imagine how this stress from explosions damages their health even further? I also heard from several people that their pets died from the shock of the explosions. And then he also added at the bottom here, I'm furious. I'm a dad. There are sick children under hospital. Rebel Russians must be stopped. Kicked out of the UN. They are psychopaths. Well, there's something to that. The worst bit is that there's zero shock, horror, surprise that Russia's actions, and we know exactly what they believe, what they will do, how the eradication of Ukraine and Ukrainians is all that they care for. There's something about that. I mean, if you're willing to attack a children's hospital, there's no military value. Andrew Perpetua, he's the guy that does all the tabulation of losses on either side of tanks and other equipment and that sort of thing. So he sees these kind of things daily. I'm sorry if I seem sarcastic. It's exasperating to seeing people downplay this. It's an act of barbaric terrorism, targeting hospitals intentionally. A children's hospital. I've seen a video of a young child covered in surgical scars being treated for shrapnel wounds. Imagine that. I don't know what those scars are from. Maybe cancer? Why shouldn't the children then be shot with missiles? Only a terrorist would target them. These are intentional strikes on hospitals. And then again, he says, by some weird coincidence, Russia fired multiple cruise missiles into multiple hospitals around Ukraine simultaneously, but the world's going to collectively yawn at that. Tell us more about how smart you are that you can see that there are other buildings next to the buildings that they intentionally shot missiles at. You're so smart. A city has more than one building. I'll add this to my notes. I didn't realize this before. Wow, I'm in awe. Okay, sarcastic, but people are saying, well, they didn't mean to hit the hospital. No. The Russians always talk about how precision their missiles are, and they hit a hospital. Darth Putin, the meme site, is saying, how many children's hospitals must I accidentally bomb before you realize that it's deliberate? All right, my friends, that's all that I have for you. Thank you for your time. I'm sorry to even have to report this to you, but I wanted you to see exactly what's going on here. And thank you for your time, your attention. Thank you for being the kind of person that cares about Ukraine.